The models we have covered previously, including attitude change, theory of reasoned action, theory of planned behavior, and health belief model, all focus on what variables relate to a person's likelihood of beginning to engage in a behavior. However, this lecture began with focusing not just on the individual behaviors, but also the development of habits and long-term behaviors. Anyone who has decided to start exercising understands that the feelings and emotions you have the first 2 days of exercise are very different from what you feel month 2 of exercise. The Transtheoretical Model argues that behavior change is a process that requires altering the message and focus on interventions to meet different needs at different stages in the behavior change process. This model specifically focuses on 5 stages: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance.
Meet Isabella. She has a challenging job and often feels tired and run down. One day, her friend asks if she'd like to join a fitness walking group, but Isabella doesn't see the purpose and explains that her schedule is too busy. Isabella is in stage 1 of the Transtheoretical Model, the pre-contemplation stage. For her to move out of this stage, something has to happen, something that makes her think. One day, Isabella reads an article that helps her realize some of her habits really aren't healthy and could lead to serious problems later in life. She begins to consider the pros and cons of making a lifestyle change. Now when her friend asks about walking, Isabella says she'll think about it. Isabella is now in stage 2, the contemplation stage. As Isabella contemplates further, she starts to talk to her friends and colleagues about how she might fit a regular walking program into her busy schedule. She also researches what she might need for walking, as well as the benefits she can expect, such as better health, more energy, and increased endurance. Isabella is emotionally and mentally preparing herself to change her lifestyle by increasing her self-efficacy and building her determination toward adopting this new behavior. She's in stage 3, the preparation or determination stage, which will empower her to make a change. Now that Isabella is prepared and determined to make a change, she takes action by joining her friend's walking group. After a month, Isabella is doing very well and starts to see her results in her energy and daily life. Isabella is in stage 4, the action stage. But when things get a bit hectic at work, she stops walking for a week. Fortunately, her group leader understands the challenges people face in the action stage and shares some motivational material to help Isabella get back on track. Over time, Isabella becomes more consistent and confident with her walking activity and starts feeling better than ever. Fast forward 6 months, we find that Isabella is consistently maintaining her new lifestyle. She feels great physically, handles daily stress with more ease, and has more energy than ever. Isabella is in the 5th stage, the maintenance stage. She has built a supportive network by getting friends and family to join her walking group, and that helps her focus on preventing a relapse back to her previous behavior patterns.
As we saw in that video, the pre-contemplation stage is before anything happens. The individual still lacks any awareness that their behaviors could or should be different. The status quo is fine. Cookie Monster is munching away happily without a thought or care about health issues. Thus, interventions targeting people in this stage must focus on increasing awareness of the behavior and need for change. Once the individual is aware of the behavior, they begin to contemplate whether they should change the behavior. This stage is where we see the most applicability of the theory of reasoned action, theory of planned behavior, and health belief model. These models are about deciding that a behavior is worth it to begin. Once we have made the decision to change our behavior, we then begin to seek out appropriate resources to prepare. At this stage, interventions should focus on making resources easily accessible, as well as increasing the individual's sense of self-efficacy and initiating the behavior. It is also a good idea in this phase to structure our environments to remove detrimental stimuli, such as throwing out the alcohol and cigarettes and facilitating easiness of cueing the behavior. Though don't overdo it. Many people get overly excited during the preparation phase, going on Amazon shopping sprees for new equipment, which can result in dopamine surges upon receiving these new toys, thus distracting us from our original need to change the behavior. Once they begin, the individual has moved into the action phase. They are finally going to the gym, eating healthier foods, and wearing those nicotine patches. At this point, intervention should no longer focus on getting us started, but on keeping us going. During this phase is when new habits begin forming, so interventions focusing on creating routine and consistency will be better off. Finally, we enter the maintenance phase where the behavior has become regular. We have started the habit and now we just need to keep going. However, this is when the behavior is least salient in our minds and other distractions vie for our attention. Thus, interventions during the maintenance stage are about keeping up the habit and avoiding complacency. Ideally, we work upwards in this model, moving easily from pre-contemplation all the way to maintenance and staying there. Unfortunately, in reality, we don't always succeed at that. The process of moving backwards to a previous stage is called relapse, and it happens all the time. In terms of habits, relapse refers to any time we return to an old habit following an initially successful behavior change. We got to the maintenance phase of quitting smoking, but now we are back to a pack a day. On the plus side, relapse is incredibly common and nothing to be ashamed about. The problem is when we let these relapse failures snowball into larger scale sacrifices. For instance, maybe some of you have tried dieting, and then have the one day when you succumb to the temptations of non-dietary foods. Maybe something like this happened to you. This is also extremely common, and represents what is known as the abstinence violation effect. When we break our own self-imposed rules, we tend to succumb to a more global feeling of lost self-control, which manifests into our behavior. Some researchers have also coined this the "what the hell" effect, when people feel like they have already broken the rule and might as well break it more. I already had one soda, why not some fries? I already had one cigarette, why not one more? I already missed one day of gym, why not skip this whole week? This last one often gets me. The trick to prevent this effect is to disregard any previous decisions when making your next one. Ignore whether you went to the gym yesterday or the day before that or the day before that. Today is a new day. Every opportunity is a new one to start over and get back into that action phase. As for reasons why relapse happens in the first place, it can be due to fading vigilance, such as feeling like we have already won at building this habit, so we forget the importance of maintenance. It could also be particularly vulnerable or exhausted at a specific moment, such as after a long, hard day or feeling negative about a related failure, such as giving up eating because we forgot to exercise. It could also come from simply not having anyone besides yourself who is aiding you in setting and feeling a need to follow your rules. This is why going to the gym with someone else is so helpful. There is social pressure not to excuse ourselves from going. For this reason, it is important that we have goals and motivation to pursue a health behavior, and stick to it. Upcoming, we will discuss the concept of goal setting and motivation to help keep us away from relapse.